Hello and welcome to the next of our lecture recaps. This is a recap of our lecture on integrated reporting. So the first thing we looked at here is what is integrated reporting? And remember, it's reporting that links the performance of the organisation, be that financial, strategic, or regards to governance, and the environment. So linking the performance and the environment. And that's the social environment, the economic environment, and indeed the wider ecological environment. So we're creating a report that covers all of those areas, and it's a single report, for example, an annual report. Also, it will cover both the short term and the long term, focusing on value creation and sustainability. So why might we create this? Well, there's two main parties that this will benefit. First of all, investors. Investors will be provided with information. It will enable them to understand the performance of the organisation, both the current performance and the future performance. It should also lead to integrated thinking for them to consider all of the organisation, not just the financial performance, but also the strategic and sustainability performance. It enables them to take a strategic understanding of the performance that they see. When it comes to the business, will they also benefit from integrated reporting? They can articulate their strategy more readily through it, and they can also understand the issues through providing the information through the preparation of it. So it benefits not just the investor, but the business also. So how do we do it? Well, there's a framework for it. It's developed by the International Integrated Reporting Council. They set the framework and they identified capitals to improve. So rather than just the straightforward financial capital, it looked at more strategic capitals to improve, to create value. So the capitals identified, well, we have the financial capital. Remember, that is the shares, money, bonds, etc. that we understand. This also can represent the other capitals that we're about to talk about. Remember, manufactured capital is the assets that produce the output, not the actual output, but the assets that produce it. Intellectual capital, well, that was the knowledge, the training, the information within the organisation. Human capital, remember, that relates to the people. It's the skills, the motivation, and how they use them. And social capital is a combination of the human capital. It's those societal institutions, such as trade unions, that bring the human capital together to form the society. Lastly, we have natural capital. This is the environmental assets, for example, water, land, and energy. So we understand what it is and why we have it. We now know that we're trying to increase these capitals. So the concept is that, first of all, the purpose of integrated reporting is to explain value creation. So we're going to do that for all stakeholders. The objectives which we've mentioned, it supports integrated decision making, reports more widely on performance, and provides that information for investors to decide on financial capital allocation. Do they want to invest or not? It also enhances the accountability of management. So we can understand it through this diagram. Remember, the capital is input on the left and output on the right, either enhanced or decreased, and it runs through the business model in the middle, the inputs, the business activity, through the outputs and outcomes. It's all framed within the external environment, and also we have the governance of the organisation focusing on the risks and opportunities, the strategy, performance and outlook. So through that process they seek to increase those capitals. So we want to improve the capitals. And we do that, as I mentioned, through the mission and vision of the organisation, framed in the context of the external environment, through our core business model. The governance of the organisation then will surround the strategic direction, the risks and opportunities available, the performance and the outlook that may have to change in order to increase or improve those capital outcomes. Lastly then, we looked at preparing an integrated report. It needed an introduction to set out that it included all requirements and identify any missing, and also how that was going to be improved. And they had a statement to confirm this from those charged with governance. The governing principles then in preparation of this were it needed to have a strategic focus and future orientation, it needed to connect all information, and it needed to have some focus on shareholder and stakeholder relationships. We did have materiality, so not all information would come in here because it needed to be concise. And lastly, we needed reliability and completeness of information. So that was a recap of our session on integrated reporting.